Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say.
Whoop, there you go. How are you guys doing? Happy Friday. It is good to see you all. Let's see. Okay. So today is Friday, July 25th. It is just after 6 p.m. And, oh, good. You got a lot of yous here. So give me 1 second because I left my notes inside because I want to cover a lot of things with you today. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let's see where we're going to start. All right. There's a couple of people who are complaining about issues with email. You're using a AOL email address and our emails are going to spam. So if you have an AOL email, we're asking you to check your we're asking you to check your spam box whenever we send out an email. We just sent out one this afternoon, and I'll get to that in a second. So that is an AOL issue only, and we've had several complaints about that. When you guys email us to say, hey, I'm not getting your email, when we start to look through that you've been receiving them, but you're not opening them, that's how we're determining they're going to spam. And then when we walk you through looking for them, you're finding them in your spam box, okay? Okay, tonight, several of you also sent me an email that you received, a letter from the DEA, the Detectives Endowment Association, regarding increasing costs on your drug plan. If you read the letter in its entirety, it also talks about why they're doing it. And they mentioned because the Health Insurance Stabilization Fund has no money in it. And they were getting not just funding. Remember, the welfare funds from every union are funded through collective bargaining with the union and the city. And what they provide is the union negotiates how much money per person, per retiree and employee that they're going to get to fund your welfare fund benefits. The unions don't fund those. They're actually funded by the city, but they administer them, okay? So the DEA sent a letter today that they were going to increase some of those copay costs or co-insurance costs on your drug plan. And they mentioned the Health Insurance Stabilization Fund had no money. Now, if you remember, in the 2014 and the 2018 agreement, the unions were taking $165. First, a $65 payment, then a $100 payment, and it was $165 per employee and per retiree per year. And so in the letter, it explains that because the Health Insurance Stabilization Fund was bankrupted, that they're not getting a $3 million cash flow from the stabilization fund into the union's welfare fund. That is why. So I can't tell you if the active workers are getting a cost on this because I haven't heard from any of the active DEA workers to tell me that they got a similar letter or if this was just a cost that was being passed on to just to retirees. I can't answer that question. But if you have an active DEA person that can speak to us, otherwise I'm waiting for our contacts to let us know. Some of you have also asked today whether or not the DEA supports our legislation. So I want to tell you, we've not asked for unions this year to support Intro 1096, but that might just be coming. But we had asked them last year to support our state bill. And the DEA was one of those unions that did. Okay. So hopefully that answers the DEA question regarding those messaging. Okay. Now, for those of you that have been opting out of your former union COPE PAC People's Money, thank you very much. We are picking that up, and I don't think I put it in this week's newsletter, but I will do it again. I'll actually do a fundraising newsletter all on its own. But thank you for doing that. Remember, we showed in those 2 videos, and I will put them in that fundraising newsletter that I draft over the weekend, that some of these unions, like the United Federation of Teachers, DC 37, if you're an AFSCME or AFL affiliate, that they're using your monies against you. They're lobbying against our city and our state bills, and they're lobbying against your protection of your Medicare benefits. So why are you funding them? I'm going to keep saying it. And yes, Laura, I absolutely saw your comment. Where did that just go? I did just write about this on Substack because, as usual, I get attacked by a little bit of everybody. That obviously tells me I'm doing my job, right? And here you go. Yes. Just noticed you posted an article on Substack. Can't wait to read it. Thank you, Laura. And that's because they were talking crap about our organization, our fundraising, where our money goes. I mean, they could never do what we do. We do what we do, and we don't get paid to do it. This one woman was, I call her Miss Unity. Because she's trying to say, like, we're raising all of this money and where is it going? Well, we have 3 lawsuits. We have 2 law firms. Those lawsuits, those of the 2 lawsuits we have left, they're in multiple parts of different courts. We have legislation. We have other issues that we're dealing with. She has absolutely no idea where our money goes. And if she doesn't know what a lawyer costs these days, maybe because their in-house lawyers are probably cheap, they're working on salary, not on hourly, that makes a big difference, right? So we had a lot to say about that and debunking some of their BS, but that's what we pride ourselves in doing. So thank you, Laura. Yes, and I just made that live today. Yes, and yes, AOL can definitely be a problem. Faye says, am on from Brooklyn. Hope to be with you all and Jim at Bridgeview on Wednesday. So that was the other thing I wanted to tell you. We did put out tonight's newsletter, and we were reached out to by Jim Walden's campaign. So if you remember, the Democratic primary just ended. Well, right after that ended, now starts the campaigning for the independent races. And every independent has its own, line. So now their campaigns will start to uptick, and you're going to see that a little bit more. So we just put that out today. Let me see if I could scroll down to that newsletter somewhere. And Jim has invited you to 2 things. One, he wants you to attend his breakfast that will be at the Bridgeview Diner. And then the other event is signing up for campaign calls. They're starting their campaign calling like we've been doing for other candidates, and he's looking for volunteers to help him. And we're going to, in this email that we put out today, so please look for it. It came out at about 3 o'clock-ish, about 3:40 is what my timestamp says. And so the upcoming events are Wednesday, July 30th at 10 a.m. It will be breakfast with Jim, and Jim is buying you all breakfast. Meet him at the Bay Ridge Diner. The Bridgeview Diner in Bay Ridge in Brooklyn, and you have to RSVP to attend. So there's an email there to reach out to John and go and speak with him, ask your questions. So he's looking forward to seeing all of you. Please RSVP to that. Very, very important. And then the campaign right underneath that is to register for campaign calling. We're going to be doing classes. Now, if you click that link that I put in that email, it'll take you to a Google form that'll ask you to sign up. And it says that we're going to begin calling on August 4th. So your training is on Thursday the 30th and Friday the 31st at 4 p.m. And you guys have been through this before. So many of you have. You've been with us doing these. They're super easy to do. So sign up that you want to attend, and then Jim's team will see you're registering, and then please make sure you're on time. We will email you with the link, and we will keep reminding you that we're sending that out, and we'll start to do that next week so the email doesn't get lost. So you didn't get the link yet, but you will get it once you register. And then we also are asking you guys to do an op-ed. So you've always watched me do op-eds. Well, it's time for you guys to speak up, and we want to hear what you have to say. We've given you some suggested themes, subjects that we'd like you to write about. Keep your writing at about 450 words. And we need you to send us a draft of it when it's written, as it's finalized, so that we can review it with you for accuracy and make sure that it flows. And then we will send it back for your approval. And once you okay it, then our team will make it get published. So we're looking to see that you register for that and send us your writing. There's a Google link in there as well for you to register that you want to do it, and then send it to our email address, retirees@nycretirees.org. We want these published in local papers. Now, if you are not a New York City resident, that's still fine. You can still write an op-ed on any of those subjects or something of that similar, using those similar themes, and then send it to us, and we will still try to get that published. What I want you to do in that case, if you're not living in the 5 boroughs, is tell me where you worked, what you did, what was your job as a New York City worker, when you retired. Just give me a little bit, just not in the writing, but in like the email, like, hey, Marianne, this is my op-ed. I was an employee. I worked for X amount of years. This is the borough and the community that I worked in. And then we will find, we will get back to you about placing that in a local paper. And if you knew what that local paper was, or you have a preference, like say you were in Brooklyn, or you wanted the Brooklyn Eagle or the Queens Chronicle, you'll let us know which preference that you have, and then we'll work on getting that published for you and keep you in the loop on that process. So we have a team standing by waiting to do that. Let's see. And there are still a couple people that are trying to donate to us by Zelle. We do not accept Zelle and have not accepted by Zelle. There's one gentleman I'm trying to find. If anyone knows a Charles M. Reiser, R-E-I-S-E-R, please let him know we do not accept Zelle. Every time he makes a donation to Zelle, it comes back to him in 14 days. So if someone could help me find him, because I can't seem to find him. This was one of the reasons why we stopped taking Zelle, is it would just give us a name and a donation, and it wouldn't tell us who he was, where he was from, his email, his phone number, nothing. So we have no way to find this man. And he's been pretty consistent, and we're still trying to find him and connect him to us. So if he's doing Zelle, he clearly has an email. We want to connect with him. So if anyone knows a Charles M. Reiser, please let us know. And that's about it on the news front. Let's see if I have anything else in my notes. Yes. So donations. Thank you for your donations. Just before we got on, I did get an email from our bookkeeper, but I haven't had a chance to review it yet. So we will give you an update on that next week and start another fundraising campaign. But the people that are donating by credit card for the first time, you're seeing on your credit card, it'll say like YSR NYS retirees. And I can't tell you, this week alone, I've gotten 4 phone calls going, who are you and how come I have this charge on my credit card? And I said, does it say New York City retirees? And they said, yes. I was like, are you a New York City retiree? And they said, yes. I said, did you donate to the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees to protect your healthcare? Well, yes. I said, and that's what that's for. Literally, it says NYS retirees in that language. And the funny part is it's got my phone number next to it, which is super funny. But I spoke to one lady this morning at 8:30 this morning, and I got to put her at ease, and she was pretty funny when she realized what it was. Let's see. I donated again today. Thank you, Ellen. We totally appreciate you funding our fight. Kat says, hi, live in Pennsylvania now. Should we stop our cope? I've heard different things. So, Kat, if you are paying a cope, absolutely, you should not be paying the UFT a cope. You should be paying us your cope because we're the ones fighting for you. Now, let me see if I can quickly jump over. Oops. Let me see if I can jump over to our YouTube channel. And what I want to do is put up that video that I had shared with you guys last week. What we did was, so you may not be aware, but when you have a lobbyist or you are a lobbyist or you are lobbying, meaning you are going to elected officials and you are either supporting or opposing legislation, then you actually have to report those activities on a constant basis. It is reportable, it's required by law to be reported, and you actually have to tell them what you're lobbying for and against and who you are lobbying. This is important because it is required by law to say that. And we have to do it as well. Whenever you see us in Albany or with the city council, we have to do the same thing. And we have a lobbyist. So right now in the chat, I am going to, and you look like you're on Facebook. So I am going to make sure that this goes into both. Yep, it went to both. You'll see the link that I just dropped down in the comments is the YouTube video, Kat, that you can go to where I literally show you the filing by the United Federation of Teachers where they are spending your COPE dollars against your fight. They are lobbying against 1096 and they are lobbying against our state legislation. We have more proof of that because when I was in a meeting with the state legislatures a couple months ago, they specifically told me, in your case, you are UFT as a COPE person, I'm assuming, and they told me that the United Federation of Teachers and the AFL-CIO wanted our bill struck and they wanted the language changed. And that's exactly what the senator did. He struck the bill at the request of the AFL-CIO for the United Federation of Teachers, and then he reintroduced the language at our pressure so that he could change the language. And what did he do? He took out the date of the bill that was protecting you from copays. Why does the United Federation of Teachers not want this bill to pass? It's not because it's illegal or because it violates the Taylor law or it's preempted. None of that. The reason is the bill stops them from passing copays onto you, and they don't want us to shut that door because then they can keep charging those copays and they don't have to pay them. The United Federation of Teachers should fund its own contracts on its own productivity and its own collective bargaining. It shouldn't be on your back, Kat. And this is why we keep saying, if you guys as retirees are funding your former union's COPE payments, you're funding their political action, they're literally using your money against you. When they sent those, 5-10 buses up to Albany this past year, they went door to door lobbying against you. They pay out of your COPE dollars, they pay Bridget Rain, who works as a city council liaison, to lobby against our city council legislation. She didn't realize I was standing right behind her, and she's telling city council members to get off of our legislation and the ones that weren't on it not to get on. So when you are listening to people who you'll hear your union leadership say, I'm walking back Medicare Advantage. Well, he's saying he's walking it back, but he's not stopping them from forcing you into it. He has the ability to literally protect you by passing this bill. He could come out and say, you know what, Kat, I'm going to make sure that a bill is placed that way no one can do this to you again. Now, he doesn't even have to say he screwed up and he's sorry, but he's not doing anything to support protecting you. He's not doing anything to stop you being forced into Medicare Advantage. So that's why. So we would appreciate that you would not pay your former union, because then you're making my job harder and my team's job harder, is because you're funding an organization to literally fight us. And we could never raise enough money as what the UFT has. It's just impossible. They have 200,000 members. They have 89,000 retirees that all pay, or mostly pay, a dues and a cope. I can't fight that. So if you guys keep funding your former union's political action, you're literally funding them to fight against you and me and my team and all of the efforts we've been putting in to pass this legislation. When this fight's over and we can kind of quasi go back into retirement, you want to give it back to them, go right ahead. But for right now, we're in the middle of this war and this isn't going to change. So in the meantime, fund this organization because we're the ones fighting to protect you. No one else is doing that. So I have to really seriously make that a point for you guys. This has to happen. So thank you for your question. Detta, hi from Woodmere. Thank you and the board for all you do. You are welcome, Detta. We totally appreciate that. Hi, Roberta. Good to see you. Hope you're feeling well. So if the Bencowski case is going back to the lower court, what does that exactly mean since the higher court ruled against us? Okay, so that's a really good question. Remember when we filed that lawsuit, Jake had to ask the court for special permission because it was a very long brief, and we filed 13 different causes of action. We didn't lose this case. We lost one part of it. And the only part that we lost was the court felt that we didn't prove that a promise was made to us that they could force the city to uphold. That's it. Now, there's still 12 different causes of action that Justice Frank never resolved. He figured he fixed this one. He solved this one. He said, I solved this case on promissory estoppel. I don't need to look at the other 12. And the Court of Appeals disagreed with the appeals court and the Supreme Court and said, nope, we don't feel you did that. But remember, this New York State Court of Appeals are politically appointed. They're not elected like the two lower courts. This is the difference. So this makes the change, right? But we didn't lose this case. We are going back to the New York State Court of Appeals, and we have 12 more parts of this case to argue to hopefully try to convince the next court, 2 courts, 3 courts that we're still, that this was a promise that was made to us, or all of these other arguments, because there's 12. We initially filed 13 different causes of action. We found 13 things wrong with why they were doing what they were doing to us. Promissory estoppel was just one. So we lost one component. There's still 12 left to fight. So we didn't lose. Is the setback? Yes, it is. But there's still a path. And then you still have the path where there's another mayor coming in that will not do this to you. Well, hopefully, because we don't have a commitment from every candidate so far. Almost all of them, but not everybody. Janet, I don't know what article you want me to link you to. You have to tell me what you're talking about. Has Michael Mulgrew told you why he's lobbying against our legislation? Michael Mulgrew hasn't told me, but the AFL-CIO told me why Michael wanted him to lobby against it, and so did the senator. So we absolutely know why. It's because they don't want the date. The date in the bill was the number one issue because the date, if it stays in, prevents them from charging copays and deductibles to you. That's why when he struck the bill and reintroduced it, he took the date, December 31 of 2021, out. What does that date mean? December 31, 2021 is the day before they imposed those copays illegally on you on January 1st of 2022. So if the date is out of the bill, like it is right now, they could keep charging you copays and deductibles. And today it's $15, and the city is already telling us that the unions want more money, so they're asking for more copays. And I'm not even going to tell you what they're talking about with the active worker non-Medicare retiree plan, because that's going to be an abomination if that comes through. They will have no way other than passing more costs onto everybody to fund the contract the way that they had promised that they would fulfill it. So their only hope is to find another mayor that would be willing to tell OLR and OMB to stuff it. So, Roberta, seems like some folks it's okay to screw seniors. Yes, that is a problem. 89,000 retiree members, yes, at $1. Well, remember, it's not to Marion, it's to the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees, but thank you for the sentiment. John, don't give to the People's Program if you're DC 37. Correct. So don't give money to a PAC, a People's, a COPE. Send that donation to our organization. We are working, and I'm hoping this week to change that link, because right now it's described as a UFT COPE. We want to open up that language, and I'll try to work on that this weekend. Hey, Francis, good to see you. Roberta, so now the judge in the New York State Court of Appeals must make a judgment on all the 12 remaining. It's not the New York State Court of Appeals, Roberta. We're going back to the Supreme Court. We start back at stage 1. So all 12 of those components, the causes of action, the 12 complaints that we had that Judge Frank didn't argue, we go back to court now. He didn't decide upon. We now have to argue those 12. So we have to prepare for that. You know, to make an argument of 12 causes of action is very expensive. So yes, we are headed back to court. When, I can't tell you. There is no deadline on that. Yes. Hi, Kathy. Mulgrew is such a sneaky snake. Joe, have you heard from Justin Brannon since last week? I sent him a message to contact you about coming on our Zoom to tell us what he's doing to help advance 1096. It would be nice if he came on with Adrian Adams, the next New York State Lieutenant Governor who supports us behind closed doors. And finally, what about Mom Donnie's new best friend, Brad? Joe, that is hysterical. I'm going to see if I could text him that statement right now in case he's not watching this, because that is really funny. Hold on one second. I'm going to tell him that the retirees want Justin to join our live and tell us how he's helping. Let's see what he says. Maybe he's busy or he's ignoring us. Joe, I'll let you know if he texts me back. Ellen, I just paid $75 in copays this week. They are all piling up. I understand. I understand. Trust me. In my Substack today, I was explaining how I go to physical therapy for my shoulder 3 times a week. And in doing that, Medicare pays the allotted amount and under the 80% under the fee schedule, and then sends the balance to Emblem Senior Care to pay. They charge me the $15. And what does Emblem pay after all of that? 32 cents. So the unions don't recognize what they're doing to us. We are paying now the bulk of our health care, not the insurance company. What they did to us was pass 75% of that cost on to you. So we're still fighting this, and this is why this legislation is really important. And this is why when you guys are funding still your former union's political action against us, it makes it all that much harder. Because then you have the UFT, AFSCME, DC 37, AFL-CIO. You have these big unions with tens of thousands of dollars. Look, one of the workers, active workers, posted a campaign that UFT COPE was at Saratoga at the races. The ticket for Saratoga at the races COPE fundraiser was $600 something a person. And that's how they're funding the AFL-CIO to do what they're doing, is through using your money. They only went there because they had the $600 a person, and several persons and their families went. So keep that in mind. December, it's December 31 of 2021. Let's put it back in. We are, and where are the $15 copays going? To Emblem. Actually, your $15 copays are going to the doctor. You're paying the medical bill. The UFT transferred the cost to you. You are paying for your health care, not your insurance. What is the name of this senator? So we are working with this. Well, I'm not sure if we're working with this senator anymore, but it is our Senate sponsor, and we are, if he won't reintroduce the bill correctly, we are going to find another senator. So stay tuned, because that's not going to happen for another 5 months. But the UFT got what they wanted. They effectively killed our bill this year on the state side. And let me remind you, that state legislation didn't only protect us, it protected every New York State municipal retiree in the state of New York. Every municipal retiree in the state of New York. This is affecting your teachers, your firefighters, your police officers, everyone in the state of New York that's retired. The people that we're helping in Cortland, the people that we're protecting in Ithaca, the ones we're working with protecting in Nassau County, your Scott and Jean Eberts. These are the people that bill would have protected. And the New York City unions were so entitled to kill legislation very greedily that we're protecting every municipal retiree in the state. Think about that for a second. Long Beach, we're back at stage 1 on the 12. Yes, we are going right back to Judge Frank, first level, to argue those 12 causes of action. Here we go again. Yes. I told you, I was really hoping we'd all go back into retirement. I told you again last week, get used to seeing me, because we're not clearly ending this anytime soon. Do other municipal New York State cities have the same or similar benefits as New York, or did they have similar benefit booklets and orientation where they were promised similar benefits as ours? And are they having? Yes. So yes, everyone has a summary plan description book. They may not call it that, but they all have a benefit booklet. It's typically called a summary program description booklet, and it is given at the time of open enrollment in the fall. And yes, these retirees are having this problem, because remember, we helped Ithaca, we helped Cortland, we helped in even outside of New York State, we helped other people in other states like Delaware and Vermont and Illinois and Ohio and California. They're all going through this because these greedy insurance companies went around and were convincing like unions to do this. There was one union president, a brand new union president in Connecticut, that called me and said, "Can you help me? My retirees keep sending me your videos. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know who you are and why they're angry." And so we explained it to him. He was the first union president that listened, and he was the first union president that fought back what the previous union president had put in place, which was forcing the retirees into Medicare Advantage. We helped him bargain over it. We helped him get it back for his retirees. That it was walked back so that they weren't forced into it. And we helped him with his contract. He was the very first union that came to us that wanted to listen and learn, and he did. And he helped beat them back based on the contract language that he had. They were trying to pull a fast one. And why did this happen? Was because the previous union president made a deal with Aetna that he would transfer the entire union over into Aetna Medicare Advantage, and then he retired and took $1 million sales job working for Aetna to convert other unions over to Medicare Advantage by Aetna around the country. And that's what they did. So we knew exactly what this guy was doing, and we explained it to this new union president of what the previous guy was doing, and they were able to stop that. Since then, we have helped several smaller transit union presidents do the same thing, where they were able to renegotiate their contracts, prevent their union members from being forced into the pattern of TWU Local 100. That is powerful. That is union solidarity. That is standing with your labor brothers and sisters and telling them, you don't have to take this crappy pattern. You can fight this back. and they did. So the first union was not in New York State, it was in Connecticut, and then the other 3 unions or 2 unions were from here in New York, and they were quasi-state entities that were usually forced to follow the pattern of TWU Local 100. That is what we've done. And that is why we keep telling like these knuckleheads from Unity, we are the real union because we're the ones that do the real work. We're the ones that helped these union leaders get out of the mess that they're in. The only difference between them and like UFT and DC 37 is they're not listening. But we helped all these other people do that. Let's start a fundraiser asking for that $1 suggested by another member. So we actually had that in, I think in that campaign, it literally says like it's like, I think it's a $5 a month recurring co-payment. I mean, $5 is easy for just about everybody to make. So if everyone did that in addition to your regular donations, we would have political action money to help support the fight of getting our legislation passed. Camille, I called DC 37 last Friday and left a message asking if I was donating to people still waiting. I called the New York State Pension and they told me I am not. Very good. And you'd probably also see that if you were looking at your pension stub, it would say people's. It would have to come out of your pension statement. Mom Donnie wouldn't support us in Albany. No, you're correct. Absolutely correct, Miriam. He's not supporting us in the Albany. He can be on the assembly bill because that bill is still alive, but he is not on it, not even in a pro forma way. So no, he is not on Assembly Bill 4639. I know you're hearing from a couple of crazy people still from United Federation of Teachers that keep saying that he supports our bill. He does not. Zoran Mamdani is not on our Assembly Bill as of today. Renee, do we go back before Judge Frank? It will be before Judge Frank. If we as members could focus on one thing, what would you have us do? So for right now, I'm asking you to do 2 things. One, Jim Walden is looking for people to help him with his campaign calls, so register for calls. And 2, I've asked you if you were interested in doing an op-ed. This starts the next project. So right now I'm asking you to do an op-ed. And if you're interested in doing that, register, write it. Less than 450 words or about 450 words is fine. And then send it to us for review. We want to check for accuracy and make sure that it's catchy, that it'll be picked up. And right now, that is the ask of us. We are then moving into the next phases. Today we laid out with our team all of the next phases of our political action around 1096, and we'll be rolling those out very shortly. We're working on meetings, and then we will also be asking you to do meetings and rallies with and without me as well. Okay, so today, that's our first ask. Okay, the article I was asking about, I was replying to Ellen Schumann-Mesker's post about an article she read about how traditional Medicare will start to institute prior authorizations. I think I found it. And that may be it. I just can't, while I'm on this, I can't click that link. I'd have to copy paste it, but I can't do it while I'm in this live. So there is an article, and I don't think I pulled that out. So we'll have a guest on our show. So, for many of you that may not know, I am no longer doing this WBAI 7 a.m. They are supposed to move me to WBAI Mondays at 5 p.m. I'm still waiting for them to confirm that date and time and onboard me appropriately. Once that happens, one of my first guests will explain that exact issue. So we've already started booking people to be on our new program. And this new show, this first show, will talk about that, where they are it's a pilot program that's just for a couple of years on very specific prior authorizations on very specific diagnostic codes. And I'm going to let her get into that. She, as an expert in Medicare, used to also work for CMS, is telling me, and she's also a consultant, so she works independently, but she guides CMS for how to roll things out for people and educate. And she also helps them in a consulting manner. So she's telling me the other day that this is not something to worry about because the very few prior authorizations that are on these new ICD codes are areas where there is traditionally a lot of fraud, and they're looking to roll some of that back, and it's only temporary. So she said it's a pilot program to see how it rolls out, and it's only in a few states. So I'm going to let her explain that. Read the articles that if that's the one that it says Medicare prior authorization coming to traditional Medicare, it is not a blanket thing. And this is a pilot program in specific states on very specific ICD codes. She did not seem worried about it at all because we had a conversation about that. I told her that there was some concern on our social about this happening, and she explained to me why, because there's a lot of fraud in these specific codes. So let's see what happens. It's kind of like the scams you've heard where people all of a sudden started receiving COVID tests for no reason at their home. They didn't order them. They didn't buy them. And then they were getting a bill in the mail that bill was going to Medicare. That's kind of the same thing. So I'll let her get into that. That first show should be August 4th. If for some reason we're not on BAI at that point, we will host that on our own. So we're very excited to listen to what she has to say about this topic. And there's several topics in that conversation for that day. So we're excited to host her. Do you recommend we hang onto our paid copay bills so that if we win, we have proof that we paid the bill? So Susan, for right now, for 2022 through January of 23, yes, absolutely. You have to hold on to them. Do not get rid of those. For 25, the copays were legally charged because they changed the contract. The only way we had won so far we have convinced the city that they admitted this, that they illegally charged them was because there was no provision in the contract to charge those copays. So they were illegally charged because the contract didn't allow them to charge you. So we're still waiting for the court, the judges, the city to come back to our attorneys regarding the back and forth on that case. But if your copays are past January 12th of 2023, I mean, you can hold on to them if you'd like, because if you're one of those people that spends X amount of dollars of your income, you can itemize them and take a medical deduction. So you just may want to hold on to them until April. But if they're from 25, you will most likely not get those reimbursed. The ones that the case was regarding was January 1 of 2022 through January 12th of 2023. Is that a fact that Adrienne Adams is running to be lieutenant governor, or is that an appointed job? So we keep hearing rumors that she's running for the lieutenant governor job. I have no proof of that. I will tell you that I'm aware that she opened up another office in Southeast Queens. And I guess there's a hint. I heard Gerson Barrero on Errol Lewis the other day saying the same thing. I guess all I could tell you, my dear, is we need to wait and see. In the past, we received a well woman visit. I am now paying a $15 copay. So your copays should be on every service, on every single service. Now, while Medicare may not charge, that's actually a good question, because if that's a fully covered visit, I'm going to write that one down. Could you do me a favor on that? Can you pull up the explanation of benefit from Medicare and also Emblem on that? I want to see them both, please. So don't email me halfway. I want to see the EOB explanation of benefit from Medicare and the explanation of benefit from Emblem on that visit, and then send it to the organization retirees at nycretirees.org. And remind me it's the well woman visit Marion and I spoke about, and we'll look into that for you. We should all email and text Justin and tell him to join us. Okay. He still hasn't texted me back. So I'm just saying. The Kiplinger article is about a pilot program in just a few states, not New York State. Yes. Well, you do have retirees, Elisa, that are in those couple of states, and I think one of them was New Jersey. Brannon used us for votes like Susan Schwang's. Shame on them both. Let's hold out judgment on that yet. I still want to have a little faith on Justin. What's the deal with the $15 copays? Where's the money going? You're paying your doctor. That's where your money's going. The city and the unions passed a backdoor premium on you in the form of a copay so that the city didn't have the Emblem Health didn't have to pay. That's what they did. I don't know where you think the money's going. You're literally paying your doctor. Jim is now on Channel 5. Oh, that's great. Hi, Marianne and fellow retirees. Feels good to be back, by the way. Mulgrew is phonier than ever. Sugar. My dog is like... Okay, what a wonderful, eloquent, informative post you wrote on Substack today. You explained everything so truthfully that the only word I can think of is eloquently written facts. And yet, Unity is scared to death of facts. It's like, oh no. I don't know what to tell you. I pay $120 a month just for physical therapy copays twice a week. Today, I saw the cardiologist. So I agree with you. Trust me. And actually, could you email me that? Because we're working on another project and I'm looking for people who are paying a lot of copays. So if you're seeing the doctor like 3 times a week, I want to know who you are. Email us at the organization and tell us on the average what you've been paying monthly or what you've been paying year to date, January to July. I want to know. Email the org and in the subject line, write high copays. Let's get into that because we're working on another project that we just started working on, I think 2 days ago. So let me know that in an email. And I want your full name and your phone number and give me that information I'm asking for. You're watching Jim now. You're watching me and Jim. That's kind of funny. Ellen, would that state bill also protect New York City retired? Yes, it would. That state bill was for every municipal retiree from the state of New York. If you worked for the city or the state or any of the counties and the cities, it covered you. This is why so many people are angry at what the UFT did. They have no idea what they did coming into this next election, legislative session. Do all the court decisions that went? No. So Bob, that's a really great question. And people are so confused by this in Bencowski. Just because we lost that one component, the Court of Appeals part of the Bencowski case, all it does, and we've said this in an email, I know I sent this out to you. The court said was that they didn't feel that we proved that a promise was made to us that they could force the city to uphold. Every fact that came out of the Supreme Court case and the appeals affirmation that Medicare Advantage was a lesser benefit, that many of our doctors and hospitals wouldn't accept it, that if we were forced into it, we would be harmed. You have the Aetna lawyer even saying that there would be times when retirees would not have access to their doctors or hospitals or the care that their doctor wanted. That doesn't go away. Those facts are still there. The only thing the New York State Court of Appeals said was that they didn't feel that we proved that a promise was made to us by the city that they could force them to uphold. That's it. Everything else that came out in those decisions stays. This is why any candidate with a half a brain who's even remotely interested in our fight should know not to make a decision to force us in this plan, because the facts that stand today, that Medicare Advantage is a diminished plan, even the one that the unions in the city tried to say is custom and was made especially for you, and it's got perks and it's so much better than traditional Medicare that they have right now. No, the court said, no, that's not true. It is a diminishment. That stands. That doesn't go anywhere, Bob. So this is why we keep trying to tell people, pay attention. Because just because that one part of the case was lost, it just meant that the state, the court judges in the New York State Court of Appeals didn't believe we proved that a promise was made to us. It doesn't take away all of the factual findings of the differences between traditional Medicare and Medicare Advantage. Everything that we argued below. That stands, okay? Don't count on Justin's promises. He promised not to vote for casinos in Coney Island, and he did vote for it, and it passed. I didn't know about that. With all 12 or the entire list that survives a cut by Frank go up as one legal path. It depends how we argue it, and it also depends on how he answers it. I can't answer that question. We could argue all 12, which I think we're going to do, and it depends what he answers. Because remember last time we argued, we were going to argue all 13, and we did in our brief. He only answered one. So, Judge Frank, do you have his address? Let's give him lots of homework. You cannot contact the judge. Contacting the judge is an ex parte communication, and that will get you in trouble. Don't do that. Sorry, had a hard time getting into Tube. Can you briefly state what we're going back to court to do? Mildred, I'm going to suggest you go back and watch the beginning of this video. We are going back to court to argue all of the 12 remaining causes of action that Judge Frank did not answer in the Bencowski case. When do we go back before the judge? We don't have a date, Jan. There is no date. Hola, catching up. Hi, Larry. How you doing? Who on here is a teacher and or retired and is not going crazy about your SBAG union and Mulgrew and that disgusting thing, Weinstein? Come on, Flip, show a little love. So are New York State folks contributing to the group? Maybe we are New York State org. So remember, their organizations are all donating to their own respective organizations, but on the state side, we're all doing this together. We formed a coalition to combine our efforts, but they're all fundraising together. We're probably going to open that up to the COPE because that would help. I'm still working on that feature, but just give me a little more time on that. Follow the money always. Yep, Camille. No, Lorraine, Judge Frank cannot override the higher court. Remember, there were 13 arguments we raised. Judge Frank only answered one. That left 12 of our arguments unanswered. The high court said, go back to the lower court and argue those other 12. That's what we're doing. The Court of Appeals judges did what was expedient for themselves, yielding to a governmental entity. Yes. Politics transcended justice. Yes. And remember I said they're politically appointed. That makes the difference. So that's why they were probably not wanting to make the decision that they should have made to protect all of you. They made what was politically best for them because they are appointed. So if they pissed off who appoints them, they would probably not get reappointed. Some municipal retirees who have become loud spokespersons for Zoran, they're mainly from Kroc, UFT, and PSC, have been circulating a 9-month-old article by Joan Maniscalco as their proof that he supports us retirees because Zoran was quoted as being against Medicare Advantage. That article showed how Zoran danced around 1096. All the most recent pieces by Joe where he bravely questions him are being conveniently ignored. Yes. Thank you for saying that. I want to show you a video where Joe was on an interview, and I'm going to put that in the chat right now, where he was on an interview with Steven Zeltzer from a labor podcast, and I'm putting that in the chat right now. In this interview with Steven, he actually says that. He talks about how Zoran danced around that issue and he was non-committal. So they're misinterpreting what they want to because they're inserting their own personal politics. I don't have that luxury. I have to look at everything the way it happens and how it affects each and every one of you. I also have to recognize that not all of you are a progressive or socialist Democrat. And I have to be clear on our facts. You are going to vote how you want to vote. I can't make you vote otherwise, and I wouldn't try. All I can do is very strongly encourage you to read the facts. In this video that I just dropped in the chat, this is a video interview between Joe Maniscalco and a labor podcast with Steve Zeltzer, where Joe literally says that Zoran was non-committal to the retirees. He mentions me. He mentions the organization. He mentions our legislation. There's really nothing more to say about that. So the people that keep forcing in your face that November article by WorkBites, they keep ignoring this interview that literally came out 2 weeks ago. So more cold, hard facts. Sorry. This is why I think people are just afraid to face the facts, because it doesn't work on their personal political agenda. I can't operate on a personal political agenda. I'm a retired teacher and I despise Mulgrew. He continues to lie to the UFT retirees. I'm Shelly. Hey, Shelly, nice to see you and welcome to our Friday Live. My sister just lost her husband, a retired New York City teacher. Does she lose her health care immediately? So Lois, please have her contact the organization at retirees@nycretirees.org. His health care dies the day he dies. So she would have to make arrangements for for herself or other dependents of the spouse. Okay. She can pick up a COBRA through the city of New York, or we can try to help her contact labor relations in securing a health plan, probably on the marketplace if she didn't want to pay for COBRA. In some cases, we can get that COBRA set up pretty quickly. It will probably take about it'll probably help her for a good period of time. Some unions, you're saying she's UFT. I am not aware that they have any benefit where they extend that. Sometimes there are some unions that will pay for COBRA for the first year. Some will pay for a little bit longer. That benefit is typically for 36 months and no longer than that. But it is at a cost of 102%. So please make sure that you are following along to make sure that she is reaching out to us to talk about this issue. We need to make sure that she's covered and her dependents are covered. So super, super important. Yes, Camille, I love Joe Maniscalco as well. Thank you. I think we need to focus on our 12 items. We are focusing on our 12 items, but remember, right now there's nothing to focus on because we haven't been called back to court yet. So we have to focus on other things until that comes up. Does Mamdani realize there are 250,000 retirees with relatives and friends? So round it to 1 million possible votes. Does anyone here know him like personally, like a neighbor? So Larry, we have a full lobby team. We have a full board that has been speaking with his people. They just don't want to talk with us. They don't want to discuss this issue. We do have communication with them. That's the answer. And sometimes a non-answer is the answer. Jim Walden's in the house. Mamdani does not care about retirees, especially not first responders. And remember, we are not just first responders. We are first responders. We are elderly. We are 9/11 survivors. We are line of duty widows. We have disabled children. We are all of those things. And no, he does not appear to be interested in speaking with any of us. Not voting for Mamdani, even if he supported us, which he doesn't. Who is Mamdani? So I'm hoping that is kind of a funny question, but Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani is an assemblyman in New York State from Astoria, and he's running for mayor. I'm hoping that's a joke. I will be voting for whomever supports us for mayor. I'm listening to what you say about the candidates. And so, Shelley, just so you know, and we haven't updated since the primary, but there is our website is Retired Labor Strong. It's actually below. It's running on that ticker at the bottom. You'll see two websites, nycretirees.org, which is our organizational page where you can sign up for emails, you can make your donations. And then our election website is right there, retiredlaborstrong.nyc. It hasn't been updated, but I will tell you that there's been no other candidates that have signed our pledge, the mayoral candidates that you see there, other than the ones that got voted out in the primary, which would basically leave right now Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Jim Walden are the ones that signed the pledge that are still in the running for this election. That's what I could tell you. Faye, hey Jim, great you are here. Hope to see you Wednesday. So yes, Faye, make sure you RSVP to John on his team about the breakfast. Hey Jim, breakfast in Manhattan, breakfast at Tiffany's sounds great. So, and they do have a schedule that they're working on that they will be posting soon of where they're going to be around the 5 boroughs. So hang tight. Yes, what does not destroy us only makes us stronger. My mother used to say, adversity builds character. And I used to say to her in response that I have so much character, Hanna-Barbera wants me for their next cartoon. Lois Schwartz asked your sister to contact SHIP if she contributes to SHIP and or if her husband did. Oh, and Jim has given us the strong arm. Thank you, Jim. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Remember that Jim is hosting a breakfast roundtable for you guys to go to at the Bridgeview Diner in Bay Ridge on July 30th at 10 a.m. Please RSVP in the email that I put out today. If you're not getting our emails, please register for them. If you are registered for our emails, please check your spam. That email went out today at about 3:40. Make sure you are stopping making your co-pack people's payments to your former union, please. Make sure you're making those donations to us instead to fight for you. That way I don't have to fight for you and fight against your former union. That would definitely help. Mary says, when Judge Frank looks at the 12 arguments, is there anything in writing that states the city promised the retirees all medical costs was going to be covered? No. And John and Dawn Savino, Gory, thank you, Marianne, and you're welcome. And Jim is saying, please come to the breakfast. It's July 30th, 10 a.m., Bridgeview Diner in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. So please RSVP, everybody. Jim is looking forward to seeing all of you. Staten Island Diner with Jim has been moved to August. Yes. So Kathy, as we get a little closer, I'll be putting those dates up, dates, time, and places. So yes, it was because response initially was low and they didn't get a good response in order to get out there. So they just bumped it up a little bit. So that's why we're now starting to advertise it more. Lyrical Dove, I haven't donated cope for years. I just don't trust UFT. So Shelley, really what you could do again is create an account with our organization. There's a link. If I can quickly find that, I will post that link on our page or even in this chat. I know it's on our Facebook page. But you can make your COPE, instead of paying a COPE, a PAC, a political action to your former union, you really need to be funding this organization's political fight. Remember, we have to pay people to help us. That's lobbying in Albany, lobbying for the city bill. These are people who are helping us do what they need to do to get that job done so that you and I can finally go back into retirement. We are really trying hard to make sure that this bill gets passed pretty soon, because we know that this has been 4 years that we've been fighting this, and it is a long time. But all of this is legal fees and lobbying fees and expenses, and it's really important to remember that if you're funding the people that are fighting us, you're making our job just that much harder. So for some reason, I'm not seeing that link. Let's see if I can find it. I had it open, and then of course my computer did an update and shut down. And that one's not it either. This is what happens when you have way too many things open. Things are bound to get lost. I'm going to look for it just another minute, and then I'm going to give up. But it will be, I'll make sure we put it out in the next newsletter, and you can click that. Now remember, you have a regular donation link, and then you have the link to make the COPE donation. And once you know that your COPE is canceled, or your PAC or your People's is canceled, then please make sure you are, consider making that small donation. Those COPE payments, from what people are telling us when they were paying them, was $5, $10, $15 a month. So that way, that would be something that you'd be able to share with us to help support and fund our fight, not the fight against you. Okay, I think I found it. Yep, I did. Okay. So you will see in the chat, I'm going to drop this right now. This was called the COPE campaign. Let me just make up. It went onto Facebook and it went onto YouTube. So that's the COPE link. Right now, it just says UFT COPE. We will be opening that up a little bit more to everybody. But at the first time when we did this, it was because we got like several hundred emails from you guys saying, we're sick and tired of what the UFT is doing. We want to give you our COPE. Can you please set something up? And we did. And we literally did it overnight on a weekend. So that's why it'll still say it'll still say COPE. But if you are DC 37 or 237 and you're paying a Drive or a People's, it's the same kind of thing. So I honestly don't know. I didn't think of it. If you could think of a name you'd like us to call it, tell me. I'll see if maybe that could be a new contest. What should we call our political action fund? Keep it civil, guys. Keep it civil. Let me know what you think we should call that fund. Thank you, Marianne. You're the best. You have a great weekend. You too, my dear. Let's see. I'm going to try to enjoy my weekend. I was outside trimming hedges on Monday, and I got stung by something that swelled up my thigh really bad. Well, I can't tell you how many retirees stopped their copays in the last month, but I can tell you that we have a lot of people that had either stopped it or were not paying it that joined ours. So that's all I could tell you. But the UFT could probably tell you how many people stopped the co-payments to them, because I know their attorney and assistant attorney were answering all those emails. There is no termination date, so doesn't that imply that we're going to get health coverage until Sharon? There's no ending to your health care at this time. I mean, there's been nothing proposed. And remember, they cannot just very quickly implement something in 3 months. Typically, that takes 6 months for implementation. There's been nothing to opt out of. There is, you will still have the healthcare that you have now. So I need to put your fears at ease over that. I don't know what you're thinking about or what you're hearing, but there isn't a credible threat on the table that would take away your health benefits. Please eliminate the UFT from your COPE name. I'm waiting for that. Okay, David. I need to remember, I'm like the chief cook and bottle washer when it comes to IT stuff. So I need to be able to get into the program and change that name. And I will try to do that this weekend. Your stamina is astounding. Thanks for everything. It's called double espressos, Robin. New name for COPE, Retirees Revenge. Jim Walden says, stop monsters attacking service heroes. Smash. What do you think of that, guys? That's very funny, Jim. David, Marion, and all, as always, enjoy a healthy and joyous weekend. Lori joined late. We'll have to go back, but no questions thus far. I've gotten a number of copays from a dermatologist since January. Thank you. All right, guys. You hang in there. I never paid a people or a PEP, but will gladly send additional money to our org in my recurring donation. Thank you, Kathy. Truly appreciate that. There is a separate link if you want it to go just towards the political action type of fundraiser, or it can go anywhere. So that's totally up to you. You can do it any way you want. I have to urge you guys before signing off to create an account. In the bottom of today's email, you'll see I'm wearing like a light blue shirt, and it explains to you how to create an account. Because every time you make a donation and you don't have an account, which means you log in to do it in our portal, you're creating multiple accounts. And so me and the team have to go in on a daily basis and look for duplicates where you may have, it may say, like Kathy Napoli, for example. Kathy may be donating often. And when she does and she doesn't log in, I can have 5 different accounts like I had for another retiree today. And they were insisting with me that they had made more donations than what I was seeing on the screen. And when they tell me that, that usually tells me that they're making it in different ways. And they were. Some come by check, some come by online payments. And so when I looked, they had 5 different accounts. So now I have to go in, merge all 5 of those accounts together. It would really just help if you guys listen to create an account. And it's very easy. I laid it out in a video. I will go back and update it if you want me to. If you're still having trouble, we will walk you through it on the phone, which we've done a dozen times. But please create an account if you don't have one, because you can go in and, like Kathy wants to add extra money to her recurring donation. You can go in, you can change the date of that recurring donation. You could change the method in how you pay it. You can change the credit card in how you pay it. You can change the date that you pay it, the amount that you pay it. You have the control in your hands. You can also see all your donations. It's important to do that. And if you've moved or changed a number or an address, you can go in and you can change that too. So it really puts you in control. Let's see. What is the senator's name again? I'm not telling you. Thanks for the follow-up call. I will set up an account. Thank you. I do not want to give to DC 37 political fund. I do not think I have been all these years. How would I know? So Kathy, check on your pension stub. Your pension stub will show people, P-E-O-P-L-E, people or peoples. It'll show DC 37 peoples. It'll be something like that. You should look at all of the deductions on your pension stub, and it'll tell you. You'll need to log into your pension system because they no longer send us a paper statement, and that's a problem. Lila, is there a way you can have the login placed as soon as you sign into the org instead of having to go to donate? You mean move that login? No, because it's on the payment portal. The only way to get to the payment portal is to click donate now. So you would go to the main page. You'll have 3 buttons across. It'll say like donate now, subscribe, and become a member. Click donate now. And then if you look to the top right, it'll say log in. click login. And that's the best way to get there. And you have to get to the payment portal for that to happen. Can you donate one time or does it have to be recurring? No, Ellen, you can make it a one-time donation. We have some people that make a very large donation one time, or they make a quarterly donation, or they just choose to make smaller recurring donations on a monthly basis. You choose how you want to do that. We've only encouraged people to be frequent donors just because we are a constant running organization that, like your union gets funded on monthly dues payments. We kind of need that same thing just because the lawyer bills and the operating expenses and the banking expenses and all of these things that we have to do, the bookkeeper, they just don't go away. So we're trying to stay afloat. We should get an app just for us. I've been toying around with that idea, but teaching you guys just how to use our portal is enough of a headache. If I had to teach you one more thing at this point, it just might shoot me. Thank you. I didn't see a way to donate once, but I'll check. Ellen, if you're talking about the recurring, the COPE donation, hold on. Let me see if I could share that screen with you. So the COPE donation screen, we highlighted, and let me make sure you're seeing what I see. Okay. On this is the COPE donation screen. We highlighted in dark blue monthly, but if you don't want to donate monthly, just come over here and click donate once. Now you're donating once, not on a monthly, okay? Now, for example, if you were to go to our website, and let me come back and highlight that one for you. When you get to our website, you will see that it has 3 buttons down here at the bottom, and it says become a member, donate now, and subscribe. You don't see any other buttons here, right? If you were to click donate now, hold on, let me get to that screen. Okay, you will notice that's what's highlighted on this screen is donate once. So you can change that if you want to donate monthly. But this is the regular donation page, not the political action page. And the reason that we had that different was because political action monies are typically recurring and they're tinier donations. They're like $5 or $10 a month. But the regular donations, we'll have people that donate 15 or $20. We have a couple people that will charge a $10 a month. Some people do $100 a month. Some people do $50 a month. It depends on what you can afford. So they recognize that we need a little bit of something to sustain the organization, and then they make those recurring. But that's the difference. The COPE payments are typically like $5 or $10. So we made those as a monthly because you were paying those monthly. And if you're canceling it from your former union, it would just make sense to transfer that to us in the same manner you were paying it to them to fight against you, when you could be paying it to us to fight for you. Okay. But yes, I will look to change that name. And I saw something by Matthew that kind of flew by. You were giving me another name. I'm going to see if I can quickly find that. I may just put up a survey on that one. Oh, New York City retirees strong. Yeah. we can, you know what I'll do? Send me a separate email to the organization. You know what? Not even do that. I'm going to set up a poll. You guys can tell me what you want, and then we'll take some names between Jim's Stop Monsters Attacking Service Heroes Smash and then Matthew's New York City retirees strong. We'll figure something out. Michael Antwerp says cope, cop out political emptiness. All right, John, go have dinner. Enjoy. So I am going to call it an evening. Kathy, so COPE is all right to use if we are DC 37. Kathy, DC 37 doesn't have a COPE. Their political action is called People's. It's called something different, and it's not all right to use it for DC 37. DC 37, the United Federation of Teachers, AFSCME International, and the AFL-CIO are all using your money against you. If you are paying a political action monies to any of those organizations, they're using your money to fight you. That includes DC 37. DC 37's political action is called People's. So if you look on your pension stub and you're paying a People's, they're using your money to fight you. And then in the video that I showed you, I'm misunderstanding you. Tell me what I'm misunderstanding. I'll wait for you to tell me what I'm misunderstanding. I know I never paid People's. Okay, I just didn't understand this sentence. So COPE is all right to use. Oh, you mean the name because it's, yes. So I think if what you're telling me is because on the page it says UFT COPE, yes, you are welcome to use that to make your political action donation. Yes, absolutely. We are changing the name to that. Remember when we first started this, that was the one union retirees that said to us, hey, would you do this? No one else came to us. And then we realized, holy cow, we were starting to get emails from everyone that said, wait, I'm DC 37 and I'm paying a People's and I don't want to give them my money anymore either. And so we said, oh, now we got to change this. So, but that's a good thing. I mean, these are growing pains, right? So don't worry about it. Yes, that program, if you come back to, let me see. If you come back to this page, which is the UFT COPE for New York City retirees legislation campaign. Yes, if you are DC 30, anyone can use this. Any retiree that's paying a political action. You see where it says UFT COPE for retirees? We're going to change the name of this because we want to open it up to everybody. When we founded this, it was literally because the UFT retirees asked us to stop it. So, and then we realized all of you other guys that were paying political action from another group were asking us the same thing. And we're like, oh, we just created this. Can we sue the UFT for misuse of COPE money? Well, they're going to tell you they're not misusing it. I mean, they're just using it against you. So yes. Barbara Volpe, I pay $3 a month to the DC 37 Retirees Association. Should I cancel that? So Barbara, please check and see if that is your dues or is it a COPE, People's. If it is a People's, yes, you can cancel that. If it is your DC 37 Retirees dues, you may want to keep that. So please check and determine which it is. And you would determine that by looking at your pension stub. If you need help, send me a text or an email of your deductions from your pension stub, and I'd be glad to help you look at that. Okay, I'm definitely going now. You guys have a great weekend. If you're going to do the op-ed, please register for it and then send us your draft up to 450 words, please. And use some of the themes that we had laid out in the email that we sent out at about 3:30 today. If you are wanting to attend the breakfast for Jim on the 30th, please do that. Please RSVP to John. If you want to sign up for call campaigning for Jim Walden, there is a sign up list to do that. And there's 2 training classes on the 30th and the 31st, which is next Thursday and Friday. Please sign up for those. Once we have enough people signed up, we will send you out an email with a link to join the training class. So you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Ciao.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth